Stay away from that. There was a case where I was walking around and then I heard, "Ooh, amor." I was like, nope. When I heard that, I was like, run.
Run.
Keep things moving, because once again, I said, oh snap, we don't know who they know. We're just gringos up in here in a foreign land. Let's keep things cool. We don't want to get got. What's going on, y'all? This is Nate from Nate in Your State. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I survived over a month in Colombia with very little Spanish. Most of the information that you're going to get is going to be on my website. Be sure to check out nateinyourstate.net for more information for whatever sort of suggestions that I may not add into this video, so that way you can get the full list of what I recommend for you to also survive a month or even over a month in Colombia or a different country. Also, don't forget to check out Teespring and pick yourself up one of your Nate in Your State No Doubt Papaya t-shirts, as I have one back there and I'm wearing one right now. Definitely a comfortable fit. Pick yourself up one. Really appreciate the support. And don't forget to like this video, comment on what you think coming towards the end of this video, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to this channel already, I don't even know what to tell you. You're probably not a supporter of Nate in Your State, and probably Nate will never be in your state, but it's all love and support over here. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let's get into it. First thing, learn Spanish. Of course, as I introduced this topic, how to survive a month in Colombia with little Spanish, but ironically, you need to know at least some Spanish, some basic Spanish to help you get by. I was fortunate to meet people along the way that made my journey a lot easier, but I needed Spanish at least the basic level. For me, some people's Spanish were clearer than the others. It was definitely clear when I was talking to the taxi drivers. When the taxi drivers wanted to talk about, a lot of the majority of them, like if you're a foreigner and you start talking to a taxi person, they're going to ask you, what do you think about their women of their town, or what do you think about women in your other town? So Spanish kind of helps in that way. And if you kind of used to that talk, things kind of click like this and it makes more sense than none. So if you learn some Spanish, you can have some conversations with the locals, you can have conversations with the taxi man, and you're able to buy things with ease, right? Also, if your Spanish is not that good, Google Translate will help you in conversations as well. I've used Google Translate, to help me get by, but if sometimes with Google Translate wasn't working and I have to go off the top of my head, that's when knowing some Spanish is going to help, when you can't pull out your phone all the time or your translator all the time. Another thing that helped in conjunction with Google Translate, I often rehearsed my dialogue before I came up with it. So oftentimes I had to lead the conversation. If somebody else approached me with a conversation in Spanish, I wouldn't know how to transition off of that, because then I have to think about what they're saying, translate it, and make sure I keep up the conversation tempo at a smooth pace instead of like going and each word trying to think of a reply to go through. So normally I rehearsed my dialogue. I kind of predicted how the conversation is going to go, going that way, and that helped me. That also helped me retain some of my Spanish as well. Like if I'm going to buy something, there was one time that I was looking for cinnamon. Before I went into the supermarket, I kind of looked up how to say it, and I kind of knew how to ask where were certain things, so I kind of rehearsed that into my head and predicted the responses that I would get, so that way it will help me get what I would need. Long-term conversations I would fall flat on, but that also helped me. So the next thing that helped me, being born in the Bronx. Nothing helps exercise your street smarts in another country than being from the hood itself, right? The NYC streets were rough, and a lot of that transferred through. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sketchy neighborhoods at night or like moving with confidence, right? I grew up in a rough neighborhood. There was a lot of things I seen on my younger age, and kind of like as you grow up, living in the Bronx, there's certain things that you acquire, some street smarts that you acquire, certain things that teach you how to be more aware of your surroundings and cognizant of what's going on, right? Or if you go down the hood and you see a bunch of people just standing like on the stoop or so, sometimes your inner sense is going to kick in like, maybe I'm not going to go down here. Or if you're walking down and you look to the corner, you see like a bunch of people on the stoop or just standing around. They kind of look like rugged and rough. You're like, okay, I'm going to just keep going straight, and then I'll go around just to get to where I have to go. So certain things like that, being born in New York, helped me. And of course, right, Timbs, I kid you not, having a pair of these guys helped abundantly in Colombia. And this I'm being dead serious when I say that, right? Having Timbs really helped me get around through Colombia. Majority of the videos that you're going to see, I'm going to be wearing some Timbs, right? I did everything in the Timbs. Almost everything. About 90% of the stuff I did was with Timbs, right? Whether it was mountain climbing or during the rain terrain. A lot of Colombians, they wear sneakers, right? You hardly see Colombians. In my experience, a lot of Colombians were not wearing boots. So when times when it was raining and I needed to go down and I didn't want to kind of stand out, I didn't want too much people around me, the rain actually helped keep most of the Colombians away from me. And with my Timbs, I had a clear path to walk to where I needed to go with no one approaching me or being next to me, because the Timbs were waterproof. With the good bottom sole, waterproof boots, you know what I'm saying? Your feet is nice and dry, you walking down with confidence, everybody's out your way in the rain. Of course, best rain boot that I had. Of course, when it came to climbing my mountain, it actually surprisingly came in a good fashion. Of course, now I'm wearing Timbs of what they were intended to do. Wearing the Timbs was supposed to be a gag for my episodes, as you're going to see coming up. And it's been popularized in New York culture, of course, where you have like a New York fitted or some type of cap and you're rocking Timbs. I kid you not, it is part of our culture. I subconsciously notice it, but if you really look for it, you're going to see a large majority of New Yorkers wearing Timbs. From women to men, for children, you'll see them wearing Timbs. Hip-hop culture popularized it too, so Timbs is pretty much the way to go. Granted, I have not gotten into any conflict, but if you were to ever get into some conflict and you have yourself a pair of Timbs, right? Timbs, they heavy-footed, right? So if you need a fight, these Timbs gonna help you fight. If you hear that sound that the boots are making, you can actually knock someone's lights out. But I don't recommend you fighting the Colombians or fighting anybody. Everybody's unpredictable. Don't get yourself into any fight. But if you had to, these boots gonna help you out. I moved with confidence. I walked like I knew I was going, and I didn't stay idle for like over a minute or two, right? If I was idle, I was only trying to check for directions, all right? When moving around, I tried to avoid walking down the same street more than twice, and from there I altered my travel pattern. And I walked with my chest forward and my shoulders back and my chin slightly up, right? You straighten up your posture and you just move, you know what I'm saying? Like, you walk with confidence, you walk like you know where you're going. I checked my phone sparingly. Malls, in my opinion, were safe zones. This also ties, if I seen many locals in the park checking their phones, I felt it was a temporary safe zone to check for directions. If I needed further navigation, I had one earbud in one ear, and then I turned on voice navigation. So that way it helps me move with confidence. I'll have the voice navigation tell me where to turn, and then I'll walk and turn instead of constantly pulling out my phone into the street, checking to see where the supermarket is, right? I'm that often happened to me, what am I looking for again? And sometimes I'll catch myself pulling out my phone, checking for directions. If I was going to check for directions, I'll post up on the wall and then pull out my phone and check for a direction then and there. But oftentimes I try to save checking my phone until I'm in the mall. Malls are safe zone. You have security there. You have full, of course, regular people. I didn't feel any malicious intent in malls compared to on the street where sometimes you can feel the eyes glaring at you. Oftentimes in the mall, a lot of people are very distracted doing their own things. When it came to the malls, it felt like a temporary safe zone because then you can get food. Everybody in the mall is checking their phones, and you can check your own phone, find out directions, and then you plan out your movement that way. And that's why I feel that malls, if you want to check your phone, try to hit up a mall, try to hit up a quick shop, pull out your phone, and then you can check from there on. My body size. So I survived Colombia because of my body size. I'm not ashamed of what I was before. I just take that as motivation to make myself a better individual in the future. And that body size actually kind of helped me. So between that wearing the Timbs and moving with confidence, I definitely wasn't checked. Not to say this is going to happen to everybody, but from my perspective, I wasn't checked at all. When I say checked, that meaning that a local tried me. So, oh, this guy is a wimp or this guy's a gringo. I'm going to try to take advantage. That's what I mean about being checked. I wasn't checked by anybody. There was a time I was with another traveler and he was like, did you catch what the lady said? And I said, no, I didn't hear what she said. What she said, he said, no one's going to F with us because there's a big dude right next to you. And then she was pointing at me with my size. You know, I was a little mean mugging. I had my fitted on me. And then I had the Timbs. They said, no one's going to F with you. I heard this from somebody else saying that not a lot of people's going to try to take advantage of you. I think it was a taxi guy said not a lot of people want to try to take advantage of you because most of these Colombians are smaller than you. They watch. He said this way. He said, oh, they know what goes on in the States. They watch 50 Cent. They see how they know about the gangster lifestyle. So most of them aren't going to try it. But I had the Timbs. I kind of get what he was saying. I had that New York swag with me a little bit that made it seem like I ain't the type of guy to mess with. Though I'm not trying to say go up there and be hard. It's just that my essence over there is just with the Timbs and the fitted. That kind of helped me out because I kind of look like the gangster that a lot of these guys probably see when they watch music videos. So that's why I always often give it to the Timbs too, because the Timbs kind of helped me out with getting that New York image to come with me, right? Be friendly to everyone. This is a concept that I learned from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you guys haven't checked out that book, there's an audiobook version of this. You can definitely check out whatever services that you got that lets you listen to audiobooks, or you can go to, the internet. And the full audiobook is there on the internet, especially if you go on YouTube, you'll see it right there. Being friendly to everyone. I've also said this earlier. If you check out the Solo Traveler ORD's interview with me and him, I've also mentioned that I was friendly to everybody. This helped me not only send a foundation that I understand who's around me, but of course you want to be able to make friends around. You know what I'm saying? If you think that things get malicious, oftentimes the way how you battle that is with kindness. I know it sounds very cliche, but you gotta battle some hate with some kindness. You know what I'm saying? Always be kind. Be friendly to everyone. I was saying as often as I could, if I noticed that someone was looking at me, I'll look directly back at them, give a smile, and greet them. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just walk by, ignore them. I want to know if someone is looking at me, if they try to get up and move about, I need to be aware of my surroundings. I know New York culture is very used to ignoring people that try to approach you as you go by, for the mere fact that a lot of us in New York City, although it seems like we're rude and impatient, whenever someone greets you or say, hey, how's it going? They're normally trying to sell you something. And, most New Yorkers don't got the time to really entertain what you're going to try to sales pitch us. So a lot of us try to keep this tunnel vision and move forward and ignore. Oftentimes, I tried not to do that because I was in New York mode in Colombia. But what I instead try to do is if I see someone looking at me, I'll look at them. Not really mean mugging, but I'll look back at them, smile, be like, buenas, you know what I'm saying? Or, hey, come on, stop, you know what I'm saying? Acknowledging that I acknowledge you. By me recognizing them, if them psychologically will realize, oh, this person kind of is aware of my surroundings. I'm not invisible. So it may diffuse any type of ill intent if they had any ill intent. I'm not saying everybody has ill intent, but if there is something that's going to come up, you kind of diffuse the situation by being friendly and greeting them. This may work for everybody, but sometimes maybe you're a friendly individual and you like to greet people, or sometimes you just don't want to do anything. This is just my perspective and how it helped me. I was friendly to everybody, I greeted everybody. Not only that, in the back of my mind, I did realize that I was in Colombia too, so I didn't want any, negative energy. There was a time when we had a situation and something offended her from the other guy. What I ended up doing was being friendly. Even though my Spanish was bad, I was able to work things out with everybody and keep things moving, because once again, I said, oh snap, we don't know who they know. We're just gringos up in here in a foreign land. Let's keep things cool. We don't want to get got. You know what I'm saying? So let's try to be as friendly as we can. Put the ego to the side. Things happen. And I'm trying to limit that possibility of something ever happening to me, or especially if somebody else is with me. I don't want to be responsible for that. I would want someone who's traveling with me, like, yo, let's be friendly as we can. Let's be respectful. Let's not be jerks and me mugging, because we don't know who they know, and we don't want to be in a bigger situation in a foreign land than we already know. I also thought that the fact that my Spanish was bad helped me make friends. If the Colombians know that you're trying, they help you. And I've had so much cases when people I was communicating with was helping me. Yeah, even when I got to Antioquia and there was a family that I met over there, the whole family was communicating with me. This was the hardest conversation I had in my life, but I was able to get by and communicate with them because they were helping me, and it felt really good to be able to communicate with them in their language, as though I felt kind of embarrassed, like, dang, I would like to talk to you guys some more about my Spanish. It's the weakest, but they help you if they know that you're learning Spanish as you go. So don't take offense to it if they correct you, because they're there to help. And I felt really good that they was there to help me with my Spanish. So that actually helped me in terms of being friendly with the locals. I highly recommend anybody who wants to have extra pockets on them and want to keep things concealed, get yourself a runner's belt. For example, I am wearing my runner's belt right now, as I keep my regular pockets free. But within my runner's belt, I would have some pesos with me. I'll keep my most important pesos in my pocket here, as well as this pocket. You'll see me with my backup phone. So that's one way how I was able to walk about and have confidence that my pockets were not exposed, doing it this way. So that way, it's good to conceal. As you can see, you cannot see that I'm carrying anything on me. So I highly recommend for those travelers who are very cautious, right? Who want to be cautious or have concerns of if someone going to try to pickpocket them. This is one way to actually limit that, because then your shirt is hiding all of that. Especially if you're wearing black. If you're wearing black, you can definitely conceal what you have on you, your important valuables, whether it's your phone, whether it's your passport ID that you have on you, or whether it's extra pesos, right? Sometimes a lot of people like to diversify that too. You can have some big bills here or your smaller bills here, or what most people recommend is have smaller bills in your pocket. God forbid of a situation that you do happen to get stood up, make sure you just got small bills in one of your pockets, just as something to give them to throw them off. So that will actually keep you safe as well. God forbid anything happens, you're not giving the person that's assaulting you all of your valuables or anything on you. You just give them whatever decoy stuff that you have in your pocket. If you also want to, make sure you have yourself a burner phone. As I showed earlier, this is my burner phone, and it's good to I use this as a way to deter attention away from me. As you can see, this phone is broken. I don't keep my best phone on me. I normally keep the broken phone on me, and this is my main phone that I used while I was in Colombia to actually communicate with other people. My travel safe. If I was ever carrying it with me, it's normally because I'm traveling from a city to a city or a pueblo to a pueblo. That would be the only times I'll have the travel safe with me. But oftentimes the travel safe I keep in my home. I keep that in my Airbnb, wherever I was staying, that's where the safe was going. This one is the master lock version. It's used to hook around something and then you can click it in. You snap it in, you click it in. This was a necessity from I've been hearing a lot of stories of people getting got whenever they invited people over. So, or even if they didn't invite people over, if somebody else, if your neighbor invited somebody foreign over, there was one big case that I heard, I forgot whose channel I heard this on, was someone made the mistake of getting an outside girl. He got drugged, all of his stuff was gone, and on top of that, all of the other neighbors' stuff was gone as well. That idea that somebody else's mistake could be me getting got put me in the head, said no, I gotta travel with one of these. And in here I normally kept most of my important stuff with me. So in here I got myself some peso just in case, a tracker. Also, I recommend that you have one of those. These are the towel trackers I got. I kept one on my key, kept one in my box, and I always had one on my wallets as well, which I'm about to go to now. I always have two wallets. One wallet went into my travel safe, and another wallet was usually with me with a chain as extra layer of security. Put that in my pocket, and I clip the rest of the belt, so that way if someone's tried to go in my pocket and try to run, no, you're taking me with you. The decoy wallet I kept with me while the main wallet was in the travel safe. So another way how I survived, I bought groceries. Many times in my videos coming forth, you're gonna see me into a supermarket, you're gonna see me in like some type of Exito or some type of shop buying groceries. Not all the time I wanted to go out and eat. Sometimes I just wanted to cook my own food and get something good. I liked grocery shopping because I found out that there are some variety of things that I really liked, like tangerine juice. I ain't ever had tangerine juice before until I went to Colombia, and that thing slaps hard. That slaps mad hard. I guarantee y'all need to go try tangerine juice when you get to Colombia, right? Do not get jugo de naranja. Get jugo de mandarina. Get that tangerine juice, and I'll tell you, man, it slaps harder than orange juice, because that tangerine juice got a tarty taste. And I'm not even. This is not even a food video. Let me get back to it on track. But I bought groceries. I wanted to cook, and oftentimes, as you see in my videos, I always have jerk sauce with me. Whenever I travel, I got myself a couple of bottles of jerk sauce, because I feel like, either I'm going to cook for some Colombians, I want them to try some Jamaican food, or I want a little kick of Jamaican food out myself, you know what I'm saying? I miss, sometimes being out there, I miss my cuisine in my country. I miss cuisine from Caribbean country, because once again, my family is Jamaican, so I'm very used to Caribbean cuisine, Jamaican cuisine. What's very rare to find in Colombia is apartments with ovens. Everything else is stovetop, which blends into the culture why everything in Colombia that you'll get is either fried or grilled, because a lot of things is normally stovetop. So there were possibly 3 times I've seen an oven. One of them worked. That was Wes's oven. His was the only one that worked. Everyone else's oven didn't work. So I wasn't able to make Caribbean cuisine as I would like it, because I like to use the oven to bake the chicken whenever I'm doing jerk chicken. But oftentimes what I had to do was improvise and do the stovetop. I said, okay, I got chicken breast. I guess I'm putting it on the stove with the jerk sauce and improvising off of that. Which, it still came out pretty alright, but most of the food that, when it slaps hard, is normally when I'm using the oven. Also, I say going to the supermarkets are actually good, because then you can get yourself fruit and vegetables. One of the things that I was doing, I was making a tea with beets and ginger, and I'll just put that in a pot. Sometimes I'll have to put honey in it. It depends, or sometimes I'll just put garlic up in it, and I'll just boil that tea and drink that. I honestly believe that most people need to start, if you are going to travel to places with different altitudes, take better care of yourself, because I was feeling kind of a little sick going into places like the state of Caldas. In the state of Caldas, the altitudes were too high. I had no energy, but normally what gave me back my energy was beats, surprisingly a lot. The most important thing that helped me survive Colombia was the fact that I was able to get a SIM card. I'm not sure which phone carriers works best internationally, but I wasn't able to get decent service for Colombia. The first time, if you remembered in my previous videos, I tried doing international travel with Sprint, and I wasn't able to get the data and service that I needed over in Colombia. Then I overheard about Simple Mobile, which is run by T-Mobile, and I tried that going into Colombia. And the second time going to Colombia, when I wasn't able to get the service I wanted, that's when the panic mode hit, because I'm an individual that likes to be prepared, and I feel like if I have internet, I'm fine. So the fact of me not having internet made the situation a lot harder than it should have been. I was lucky to actually meet some great people that helped guide me through the process on where to get a SIM and how to do things. It was a whole adventure. But if I don't do it here, I am going to make a video on like how do you get yourself started on a SIM card, because I don't see that at all. I didn't know the process, and sometimes my Spanish wasn't even the greatest. So I'm going to guide through the steps on how to set yourself when you get yourself a SIM card, right? For me, it's going to be through a movie star, because that's what I ended up getting, and I didn't understand it. I know that there's about 3 plans that runs in Colombia. There's Movie Star, there's Claro, and I think it's Tigo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the 3, but I just went with Movie Star because I guess that's what helped me through when it came to the SIM. So I took a bus across country. So originally when I was doing this trip, I booked 2 tickets, one stemming from the state of Valle de Cauca, and then the next ticket that I bought leaving from the state of Antioquia. Give or take, doing it that way saved me a lot of money instead of taking a whole bunch of planes. And of course it's longer, but I actually got to see more of the country, traveling around the country this way. I recommend taking a bus so you can see almost everything. You can see what the country's nature has to offer for you as an individual who likes scenic sights and all that. You get to see the beautiful mountains. You got to see all the cattle up on the prairies, up on the mountains, on the grass, and it's such a great sight. And then you get to see the locals interacting with each other. You got to see all of that traveling through the bus. So I recommend traveling that way. The next thing is know which bank in Colombia is affiliated with yours. So the list goes as follows. At the top, you will see the Colombian bank, and within the bullets, you will see the U.S. equivalent corresponding bank, right? Something to know about this list, right? Let's say, for instance, you have Citibank, and you go to an ATM of that particular Colombian bank. If your card doesn't work properly with that ATM, like say if you have Citibank and it's not working with Banco de Bogota, what you would have to do is find its equivalent. So if Citibank doesn't work with Banco de Bogota, then let me try Banco de Occidente, and probably I'll be able to withdraw my pesos from this one. The next thing that you can do is look for Servibanca. Servibanca are the green ATMs. I first encountered them in Cartagena, and some other pueblos and cities do not have them. So do take advantage of it if you happen to come across them. The next thing I have to mention that could potentially save your life: take it easy when traveling in higher altitude. So there is a thing called altitude poisoning, also known as acute mountain sickness or AMS. It can start from like its mild cases to like a more serious or very common life-threatening cases. Sometimes it's the symptoms that you can get makes it feel like you're having a hangover, dizziness, headaches, or even nausea. There are other forms of it that can be very dangerous, like high altitude pulmonary edema, which is a buildup of fluid in the lungs that could be very dangerous or life-threatening. There's high altitude cerebral edema, which is the most severe case of it, of altitude sickness, where it happens within the brain, where fluid gets into the brain, and it's life-threatening. And they say if something like this happens, you need to see attention right away. Most of the symptoms that people have when experiencing AMS is headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, fatigue and loss of energy, shortness of breath, problems with sleep, and loss of appetite. Symptoms usually come within 12 to 24 hours of reaching a higher elevation, and then gets better within a day or two as your body adjusts to the change in altitude. This is taken from WebMD. I say that this is really a serious thing from someone who's been living in New York his whole life. New York is 10 feet above sea level. When I went to certain states in Valle de Cauca, and especially in Caldas, Colombia, was 2,100 feet above sea level. That was a huge jump up into the mountains. And there'll be many times where the macho-ness of me said, oh, I want to walk out and explore. And some of these symptoms I wasn't really experiencing, where I was walking around and I was getting so winded. I'm like, yo, dang. I'm walking and I'm winded. I'm like, yo, dang. Like, yo, it felt like I'm really exhausted walking around here. And there were some times where I'm just, okay, I just had it. I just need to lie down and take it easy. But I did hear some other YouTubers had said something similar. So I would just say some of the remedies that they recommend is to take it easy. They also recommend some over-the-counter drugs. If you have this, make sure you take it easy when you're walking around. And it's not anything to really be like ashamed about if this happens to you, because according to WebMD, almost anybody can get altitude sickness. They say it doesn't matter how fit, young, or healthy you are, even Olympic athletes get this syndrome. Your chances of getting altitude sickness depends on how quickly you move through the elevation. So what they recommend is that you want to climb to higher altitudes gradually. Going slower helps your lungs get more air through deep breaths and allows more of your red blood cells to carry oxygen to different parts of your body. They also recommend that you drink a ton of water, about 3 to 4 quarts of water a day when going through higher altitudes, and make sure that you have 70% of your calories just coming from carbs, doing it this way as well. They said if you notice the first forms of altitude sicknesses, make sure that you move to a lower elevation to get your body to adjust gradually. But I'm sure you guys will figure it out when you get over there. Just make sure you're safe going through the mountains of Colombia. Travel insurance. Make sure that when you travel that you get yourself travel insurance. I'm not sure which one you will use. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I do remember two that I've been hearing online. I heard Safety Wing and then I heard Travel Guard, I think. But I would leave it up to you for y'all to go check and figure out which one is the best one. I think I did Safety Wing. I don't remember, which is why I mentioned those. So I don't remember which one I used, but it definitely will be helpful. You know, God forbid you have to go into the hospital while you're over there, or something happens with your flight. You can get reimbursed. I'm sure one of them, they only kick in while you're outside of your home state. So if you're already home and you get it, it doesn't work. But if you're over there, you can actually get yourself some overseas travel protection. Here we go. I gave Papaya at the last day. Once again, I'm going to advertise my shirt, the Nate in Your State No Dar Papaya t-shirt. You can get yourself one at Teespring. I'm going to leave the link on the description below. But it is important. There were many times, I think 4 cases, when I was hanging out with some friends, and I would hear them say, like, if I'm doing something that seems very touristic, that I would hear them say papaya. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Nate, you're giving papaya. I heard this many times. If I'm checking my phone, speaking loud, or I had my camera, my Insta360 camera around, if I had either of those outside, they'll look and then you'll hear them say like papaya. So it is the slang over there, no dog papaya, which means don't give papaya, which also means don't do anything that will get yourself got. As I listed earlier, some of the things kept me safe, but there are some cases where I was given papaya. And Lord have mercy, if I was someone else and I didn't have the New York smarts, I probably would have gotten got. I'm very grateful that I didn't get got. But I don't recommend anybody go out and do what I do or what other people do. I just say when you go there, be as safe as possible. But you know, you're on your own journey and you're out there to have fun. And I'm not going to judge what you do out there to like really enjoy yourself. I'm just some guy on the internet that's making recommendations. But for me, I only gave myself papaya on the last day. Why, Nate? Why did you do it on the last day? For the mere fact that I know I wasn't going to be in this state any longer, or I'm not going to be in this city any longer. So I'm like, hey, I'm leaving from here and going somewhere else, and there are some things that I want to do, especially with the 360 camera. So I would do all those papaya things, like go out there and have my 360 camera in my hand, all out in the open recording. I'll do that on the last day, so that way people who, if they want to, I hear this happens in Colombia, that people watch you and they watch your moves. So if someone wanted to do that, I will go out there, did all my recording, and then go back to where I was staying, and then I'm out. Especially when I was in Quindío. This city in Quindío, I felt was a little sketchy. I was just walking down and I got some eyes looking at me, but little did these guys know, I said, hey, I'm leaving in 30 minutes. So, hey, I don't recommend anybody doing this. I just knew that since I was leaving that same exact day, I just went out and did all the papaya things that I was going to do anyway. So people said, oh, we have a gringo here that's showing off. All right, cool. Next time we see him, we're going to get him. But I didn't give them that opportunity. The reason why I started to do it this way, the first time in Cartagena, when I had a bunch of kids try to haggle me too, say, hey, amigo, you want to buy something? I'm like, no. And I try to ignore them and shoot them off. There was one case when this one kid said, when he tried to do it again, said, hey, I know you. And that actually made me feel uncomfortable, meaning that this guy, he's seen me around enough times. So that means he knows me and knows my moving patterns, and I didn't really like that. So I said, there's something that I have to do to change up my patterns, so that way I'm not giving too much papaya anymore. Of course, if you look at my previous videos, I did have a silver chain, but the silver one that I had walking around in Colombia, I felt that probably that was attracting people. I was not even paying attention, and I kept it as a keepsake. But now that I think about it, I said, I actually did have jewelry on me. I made a mistake. So this time around, I didn't have no jewelry, and most of the papaya that I gave is normally on the last day of that city. I was skeptical of women. Keep a sixth sense whenever you're dealing with women. Of course, if you want to go on a date and if they ask you for some type of money, and if they ask you for some money, you never give someone that you never met any type of money. But you want to be safe whenever you're dealing with certain type of people, especially if you go to certain tourist traps, which would be the clock tower or places like Paquilleras. You want to be as careful as possible when you're in these areas. There was a case that when I was walking down the street near one of these areas, and I heard from the corner, like, you know, there's a group of shorties coming down, and you hear them like, ooh, amor. Like, of course, some people will be infatuated by that. By me, that was a warning sign. I was like, nope. So when I heard that, in the back of my head, I was like, run. Because this is what ends up happening is normally, no matter how big you are, some people have a woman weakness, and when that ends up happening, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. Things that I've been hearing, especially from a lot of other channels, is scopolamine. Scopolamine is a drug that some people slip into your drink. And I heard this happen when I was in Quindio. When I was hearing a story from another guy, he was saying like, yo, I went to a club and I don't even remember what happened. All I remember was like, yo, we was having a good time. And then they were saying, I should get this. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should get this. It's a drug that they call devil's breath, where you're completely hypnotic. You're completely under the mercy of anybody's actions and orders, to a point that what ends up happening is that you look regular to everybody else, but you're underneath a hypnotic spell, and you end up liquidating your funds, or you end up passing out, and you can end up robbed, or even worse, life-threatening situations, probably where you never even wake up. So that was one reason why I was so skeptical of visiting places like Medellin, because Medellin, I've been hearing from every type of YouTuber about the horror stories, and hey, I don't want to go to a place, end up with the wrong crowd, and then all of a sudden, you know, I wake up and I'm missing socks, shoes, and like my luggage is missing, my money and wallet, passport's missing. So definitely be mindful when dealing with certain type of people. Don't give money to people that you don't know. When they call you a Moor, if they're calling you a Moor too early, run. Alright? Get yourself out of there. I'm not going to judge what you do, but if they doing that and like, ooh, a Moor, run. Alright? Especially if you don't know who they are, because they don't like you like that. They're going to like the resources that you can give them, but no one's going to call you a Moor that early. You know what I'm saying? If so, you're going to have to be mindful. Unless y'all guys are really cool and y'all known each other for a while, be mindful with it. You know what I'm saying? But if a random woman is calling you, that's over there is calling you a Moor kind of too early with a group of other girls, still just be mindful, because chances are that they want something, and it's not just they think that you're hot. You want to be mindful, you want to keep yourself protected and smart, be wise, do the proper things while you're over there. And that's also ties with another thing. I seldomly went outside at night. There's one thing that you should know is that Colombia gets dark relatively fast than most other parts of the world. You are below the equator line, so the sun sets at 6 p.m. Whereas, you know, in the United States, we have daylight savings, where in the Northeast, like in New York, it doesn't really get dark until like near 8 o'clock, or sometimes after 8 o'clock, it doesn't even get dark. Colombia, without a doubt, 6 o'clock is pitch dark. And I don't like it that much. That means you gotta have an earlier morning, and especially if you're doing stuff remotely, it's not so fun. Where when you're finally done with your day and you go outside and it's dark, it's whack. But definitely just keep that in mind. It starts to get dark at 6 o'clock. That's when predators are out there, so you want to keep yourself safe and protected. One of the other things is I am into self-improvement, and if you look at my previous videos, if you really are critical, you'll see that my teeth is jacked up. Now my teeth is getting fixed. Went to a dentist and got myself some Invisalign. And one of the other things that ended up happening to me was I ran out of cleaning tablets. This also ties to whatever you need. So if you're looking for like toothpaste or any type of dental thing that you'll need, Colombia got it. Just make sure that you know your Spanish so you can translate what you're looking for. And I did find the Colombian equivalent to denture cleaners, and that got me a long way. And I kind of like their version than the ones that I get over here. Like if you think of Effort It and regular denture cleaner, these ones in particular carry a minty type of taste too. So when you put back your Invisalign back in your mouth, or for those who wear retainers or whatever have you, it leaves like a minty aftertaste. I believe is very good to keep your breath smelling fresh and leave a minty aftertaste in your mouth, because nobody want to taste chemicals or after they finish cleaning. Of course, you also have to rinse whatever you're using them to keep your teeth straight. But for me, this is what helped us. I found the Colombian equivalent to that, and I love it to a point that I actually wanted to bring back more with me. Another thing that helped me was this anti-theft backpack. Many of my videos, you are going to see me walk around with this type of backpack, and I really like it for the mere fact that the only zipper that exposes the front one. And of course, you're not going to put most of your important things here, but you're going to put everything into the backpack that's here. The beauty about this is they can't rob you. The zipper is along the sides, right? And it's impossible for someone to rob you unless they take the whole bag. The zippers on the sides, and of course you can put whatever important things that you got in here. So this is why I use this very often when I was going around Colombia, especially in sketchy areas where you know that pickpocketing and like scooping happens. You don't want to get scooped. Get yourself an anti-theft backpack. It helped me. If they wanted to rob you, they can't rob you from the outside. They would actually have to go to the inside to rob you. So these actually came clutch for me. I registered with STEP, that is on the us.travel.gov. The STEP stands for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. And from there on, what you can do is you pretty much register towards the embassy like, hey, my name is such and such. This is my travel plans. You pretty much let them know, and they will give you information on what's going on in the country. That's how I also got some of my news about the peoples and schedules that was going on and sort of restrictions. Of course, channels like Solo Traveler ORD, getting news from him and other YouTubers, that actually helped me know what was going on while I was there. And I'm grateful for these type of channels that you have out there. And that actually helped me, you know what I'm saying? With that, you're registering with the U.S. Embassy that's over there. And I think they check up on you too. Like, you set your dates that you're moving. I think they check to see if everything is all right with you. And if anything's to happen, you can put your emergency contact information over there, and it's free to join, free to enroll up on that. Those are the tips that I have for you, how I was able to survive in Colombia with little Spanish. Don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video with your friends, family, and those that are traveling to Colombia to make sure that they're extra safe. Let me know in the comment section below if any of these tips help you out. So that way, whatever experiences that you have can help me in the future, as well as the other viewers that come onto this channel. And if you have any suggestions that helped you out, please sure to drop it in the comment section on this video too. You might not know that the tip that you share might be able to save someone else's life, or even my life too. I've listed a lot of things, and I don't know everything, but I just listed what I know at the moment. If you want more information, check out the full article on my website at nateinyourstate.net. I have a lot of useful tips. Leave some reviews over there with food, hostels, experiences of like restaurants, beaches. So just be sure to check out my website. I would appreciate that. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Nate from Nate in Your State. Thank you so much for watching. Keep eating, keep exploring. I'll see you next time. Peace.